Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's Trade the Chain AMA. We're so happy to have you. Before we get to the main bit of it, though, let's get some legalese out of the way. All content and information provided by Trade the Chain is for informational purposes only. None of this is investment advice and should not be construed as such. So a lot of what we'll cover today, involves questions that were asked by the community to us. And that's the purpose of these AMAs. We try to group them into categories, if you haven't joined before, to make it flow just a little easier and for everyone to understand. So off the top, we'll cover some platform updates to let you know what's changed with the platform since our last AMA before the holidays. We'll then go over Weston's Trading Corner, where he goes over some of his most profitable trades of the week. I think this week his best one was CeeLo. And then we have a sentiment screener and reading data with Alex. We have a Uniswap Metamask set up with Alex. That's one of our most asked questions. And we'll have some shout outs to some members we've noticed doing some great things in the community. And then we'll go over some research with Josh from TheTie. We have a great show in store for you today. We're really happy you're here. But first, let's do those platform updates. We added 4 coins over the past week: Gollum, Kusama, Swap, and UBT. These are some of the most requested coins, and we're happy that they're on. And if there are any other coins that you think are missing, please feel free to request them, and we'll review whether or not we have the data to add them. Another thing that we're bringing to the community based on demand is an affiliate program. A lot of you we know refer friends to join Trade the Chain, and we want to give you a way to make money for doing so. So you can make money doing what you're already doing. It's recurring monthly revenue from these subscriptions, be they annual or monthly. And some of our affiliates are generating a really nice monthly income. We're going to give you that opportunity too. It's a very competitive payout, and we'll share more details around this affiliate program in the community over the coming days. For now, let's kick it over to Weston and check out Weston's Trading Corner.
Love it. Awesome. Thank you, Ryan. So yeah, this week, guys, big update signal came through on Monday night. If you remember, about 9:38 Central Standard Time for CeeLo, ticker symbol CELO. I actually happened to be on my computer at that moment. I was able to get in immediately at about $1.62. Wrote it up to about 120% gain, and then exited once I saw the first tick down for a nice quick double, a little over double. So very great sig dev. Hopefully you took advantage of it, but yeah, great trade.
And it was enough to, if you had an annual membership, it was enough to pay for that annual membership with one trade, right, Weston?
Yes, yeah, actually exactly about that amount. I think it put in about like 1,000 and exited with 2,000. So yeah, an annual membership was covered by that one single trade.
Exactly. And one of the ways that Weston's able to do this is by reading those alerts, but also by reading, sentiment data and seeing where sentiment for a given coin or token is. And Alex is going to go over a bit on how to interpret that data and incorporate that into your trading strategy. You're muted, Alex.
Also, by the way, because I'm technically challenged. Also, by the way, it was great to see some of the comments in the community regarding that. There was other members. I saw one it was their first trade that they had made on Trade the Chain. They were excited that they got that money, and yeah, it was actually exciting to see. All right, so what I'm gonna
is Alex
is I'm going to share my screen here, and let's see, which screen would that be? I have so many. Okay, what is everybody? Oh, that's not it. Let's see here.
I see you
technically challenged. What's that?
I see you still.
Yeah, no, it's okay, Weston. He's just sorting out the screen. I guess let's give this, Alex, are you able to get it up? Okay.
Do you see this coin screener page?
Yes, sir.
All right, guys. So really a lot of people asking, there's all different types of, all different levels of crypto experience that are in Trade the Chain. Some already know this, but we do get a lot of questions on it. So I'm gonna basically show you how to get Uniswap, how to get your MetaMask wallet, and do the swap for some of the tokens that are not available to some people in some locations. So We'll start with the Uniswap side of this equation, and basically you go to uniswap.org as put up in the screen here, and you're going to hit Launch App. Okay, it's really simple, and this is what it looks like when the app's launched. Second thing you're going to do is, and there's a couple different wallets you can use. Typically, the most popular is Metamask. So you go to metamask.io. Okay, and this becomes an extension actually in your browser. So you'll see a MetaMask icon located up in your browser once it's downloaded. Once you download that, you then want to connect your wallet. And so again, this is the Uniswap platform. You go to connect your wallet, you hit MetaMask if that's the one you downloaded, and add in your password, and there you go. You can see that your MetaMask wallet is now connected here. When you go in, and let's take VGX because I love VGX this week. All right. So for all the folks who are not on Voyager, you cannot just go out and buy VGX. So when we talk about it, how do you buy it? And this is one of the easy ways to do it. Now here it says select token, and I'm going to do VGX. Well, actually, let me just show you something else real quick, guys. Let me go to, there's a whole bunch of lists. So when you go to select token, this opens up, you'll see down here, change. Change takes you to a whole bunch of different lists of different tokens. Now, if I go to the Uniswap default list, here are the tokens. I type in VGX, and wow, nothing comes up. So it's not on this list, and this will be your default list. So now I want to go find it. Well, I'm going to save you the trouble of going through all these lists, and I'm just going to go to CoinGecko's list. All right, so you go to CoinGecko's list, you hit VGX, and boom, there it comes up. Now, one of the ways, and one easy way, and I'll take it, let's just pretend you're only a Coinbase customer, and you want to get the VGX, go into Coinbase and you buy Ethereum. Okay, right on the user interface there. Once you have Ethereum in Coinbase, you're gonna look for the send option. Okay, when you have a MetaMask wallet and you open it up, you will see a send and receive address. You're going to put that in Coinbase as where you're sending it to, the Ethereum, and it'll end up in your MetaMask wallet. When that happens, it will show up once it's connected to Uniswap as a balance here under Ethereum. Now, if you go to purchase VGX, all you do is put in how much VGX you want to buy, and it will show you how much Ethereum you need to buy it. If you want to blow the whole wad, just hit max, and boom, and you can trade it. And now you will own VGX, all right? And that'll be yours. So I hope this helps. You can ask, any more questions as they come. If I miss something for you and you still have answers to, just ask away. But that is the easiest way to get your hands on a token such as VGX when you can't do it at your local exchange.
Boom. And if you're buying these tokens you're using Trade the Chain, you're likely doing it based on SigDev alerts or on the sentiment data that you're seeing on the screener. Alex, can you share a little bit about how you use that and address some of the questions, I guess, that our users have had over the past couple of weeks since before the holiday?
Yeah, absolutely. So are you seeing the Uniswap screen again?
Yes.
All right, good, because I don't want to show you one of my screens that has secret information. Let's see here.
Look at that Voyager sentiment, my God. And look at the price predictions. Wow.
All right, so this is how I use it. Now, again, I mean, guys, seriously, I can't control the markets. Voyager's at the top, so I'm going to take you through VGX once again as an example. The first thing I look to is what's at the top. So when you go into the coin screener page, by default, you have Bitcoin, Ethereum, Tether. You have basically the market by market cap in its order. For those of you who don't know, You go up to the top here, and you can do this across the board. You go up to the top to the 1 hour projected range, and you hit it. If you hit it a couple of times, there it starts at the bottom, there it goes back to default, there it goes back to the top. So when I go to the top, and I have this on my screen throughout the day, to my left here, I look at see what's changing. Now here, VGX is catching my eye because it's extremely overweighted to the top, okay, on this 1 hour projection. Let's run through the 1 hour projection real quick. You have three different numbers. On the left is the low end, the middle is the center, and the right is the high end. The right is one of the projected outcomes in an hour, and it's a rolling hour, and I'll get to that in a minute, but it's going to be the projected high of the price after an hour, where the left is going to be the projected low range of the price after an hour, and the middle is the mean. Now, I do get a few questions on what that middle number means. Well, it's the mean, it's the middle. Now, you see this one is very heavy weighted to the positive side. It can also go in reverse and go it can go negative weighted. So what it's saying, it's giving me two indicators that the flow of the 1 hour projected range on sentiment is to the top. I feel comfortable for that indicator. It is very weighted in the mean, so it's very leaning to the top. I then, after here, once I like this, I go to the relative tweet volume. I see there's 754%. That's astronomical, okay? Now, if you don't know what the relative tweet volume is or what this number means, you can click this question mark, just like you can on any of the other places. It'll tell you.
Also, with the 1 hour projected range, Alex, it's important to know that the middle number, right, that's the one that has the highest degree of certainty. Whereas the right and then the left, those are potential outcomes, but the highest degree of certainty is in that middle. And it's most likely to be within that.
That's why that's why it's a mean. So the averages fall tightest to the middle number. You see trading volume is 1,400% up in relativity, which is a huge number. I like that. I know it's been getting a lot of action. I know that not only have the popular people of Trade the Chain been talking on the show a couple episodes this week, but also Steve Earls just yesterday gave a virtual investor conference on Voyager to stockholders. So I know that was a very positive meeting. So that's why there's a lot of trading volume on it. You look down here to the long-term sentiment. Now our AI hasn't posted a long-term sentiment on this because of volatility, most likely. But
the reason is we haven't been tracking it for long enough. So we need to have at least 200 days of history for the long-term sentiment score to be generated.
So what I like to do is I really don't like to pay the long-term sentiment volume because that's not where I'm doing this. I'm doing this 3 hours to 3 days is usually my traditional trade. So I look at the daily sentiment, which has the very bullish listed in it. Now, to me, I'm very excited about that. That's 4 indicators in my favor. But I will tell you one thing. I don't like the 24-hour change being this high. And why don't I like it? Because it's showing volatility in the price swings. So it means that as high as it goes is as high as it can fall as well. I usually like this number to be within a 10% tight range. That being said, I do know that there's some certain news items that have been coming out positive that have affected the relative tweet volume. And I also happen to know the team pretty intimately and why this is being driven up on positive news from that team. So for me, I like Voyager. That's how I read the sentiment. Now, it's also good to match the sentiment with some other things. So people look for affirmation. If you are a technical analysis or you like the charts a little bit, if I have a question about this, if I didn't know Steve over at Voyager and I saw the 50%, I'd be like, let me check out the volatility range. Let me go to the chart. Let me see what the candles are telling me. Typically, I'll go to a 1 hour candle chart to kind of get what my near-term price action movement is anticipated to be. And then other times also, when I see a high relative tweet volume and I can't figure that out, I will go to the news and check out what the news sources are posting, because that affects that metric. So from a sentiment value trading, that is how I read the data and how I do my daily trades off the screener page.
Boom. Thanks for that, Alex.
Yep.
Josh, do you have any like some research that you can share that the TIE's looking at this week?
Sure.
For that insight.
Sure, I can give you. So how about a little bit of a quarterly sneak peek, wink, wink.
Yeah, buddy, let's do it.
Uh,
While you're pulling that up, I just want to give a few shout outs to some new Trade the Chain members. We had 40 new signups this week. Amazing. Community is growing by leaps and bounds. Some of the most active new members are, Lucas Bradley, Hezron Conliffe, I think I'm saying that right. If I'm not, I'm sorry. Louis Shu, Brian D. Carty, 70, Mike Bramble, and Calvin Cam. Welcome to the community, all of you.
all right, so here's a few basic. Oh wait, just you, Alex, you got to enable attendee screen sharing.
Also, everyone who's in the chat, please feel free to ask any additional questions you have that we haven't asked, whether it's in the community right now or in the chat for the webinar, please.
Yeah, that's really important, guys. We don't know unless we're told. So please ask as many questions. I know we collect a lot of the DM questions over the course of the week to address, but you got to ask them so we can answer them, please.
Can you guys see my screen here? So
Yep.
This is totally disorganized, running through things, but a couple data points which you guys should see in the news probably soon. So this is quarterly asset performance. So you can see every asset. So Ethereum was actually up every quarter in 2020. Bitcoin was just down in Q1, but was up 3 other quarters. The only major asset that was actually down this year was EOS. EOS was down about 0.2%. It was basically flat from Q2 to Q4, had dipped a little bit in Q1. This was kind of an interesting visualization on the best performing assets by month. And it just shows you that, if you can get into the right altcoin at the right time, there's really, kind of tremendous opportunity to see a big run. And I imagine if we put in January, which isn't finished yet, we'd see Stellar again, kind of showing up at the top there for best performance. Here's just investor sentiment change throughout 2020. So with the majority of assets became more positive. So Litecoin, Bitcoin, Stellar, Bitcoin Cash, EOS, Cardano. The only ones that were down were Dash, Ethereum Classic, Tron, and Tezos. Ethereum Classic makes sense. It was 51% attacked like 72 times. Tron was actually performed well last year. One thing to know about Tron's performance last year, and this is something you should always keep in mind when looking at an annual performance chart, is that almost all of Tron's gains took place in like 2 weeks this summer when Tron announced the launch of Just Token, liquidity mining, and a few other things amidst kind of the DeFi euphoria. So Tron was up maybe a little over 100% this year. About 80% of that movement was in 1 week. So it was very, very concentrated. But there's one thing that I actually want to point you guys to. You guys will be able to see a lot of this. This is actually a sneak peek of some research we're putting out. But there's one thing that I want to point out here, and I got to find it. I think this is it here, which is basically the when alt season. So when should you be in Bitcoins versus when should you be in alts? And so this chart here looks at, if you were 100% in Bitcoin is black. And if you're equally weighted in the top 100 alts, that would be red. And what you can see is up until about December 18th, you actually wanted to be in alts. But after that, you get this exponential Bitcoin rise. So the question that we asked ourselves is, when should you be in Bitcoin versus when should you be in alts? And so basically what we found, the first thing that we looked at was relative trading volume. And basically looking at when relative trading volume, it's a slightly different metric than what we have on Trade the Chain, but very similar. Basically when relative trading volume is super high on altcoins, you swap into altcoins. When it's super high on Bitcoin, you swap into Bitcoin. So for example, here you see that relative trading volume on alts starts to become a lot larger than Bitcoin. that's when you actually switch from Bitcoin into alts. And then here, Bitcoin starts to overtake altcoins again, and that's where you see a Bitcoin run. Similarly, we looked at another thing, which was relative tweet volume. And we see a very similar thing where there's about 2 swaps last year, where when relative tweet volume on Bitcoin is super high, swap into Bitcoin. When it's super high on alts, swap into alts. And you're actually able to double your return. If you just made these 2 trades last year, just swapping when relative tweet volume on Bitcoin became super high and relative trade volume became super high and then back into alts, you actually would have more than doubled the return of Bitcoin. And there's a couple other interesting things. Another interesting thing is that when you see a lot of listings, these are the number of exchange listings on a daily basis. When you see a lot of exchange listings coming again and again and again and again, that tends to be a sign that altcoins are going to outperform as well. So we've seen some interesting patterns of, a lot of listings correlating with movement of alts, and also news from crypto projects. So if you see a lot of news coming out from projects, that's these orange bars, you can see that almost always correlates with just this massive spike in alts, right? Where a ton of news is coming out directly from Voyager, directly from, the Litecoin Foundation, directly from, Chainlink, whatever else. Those events, tend to, correspond with movement. And this is basically kind of showing you, those swapping periods, which is basically when, hey, there's a tremendous amount of news coming out from altcoins directly. There are about these 4 2-week periods during the year that you want to be in alts. And the green line is the return if you just were in alts for those very short period. And then the black line would be in Bitcoin and the red line would be being in alts, equally weighted throughout the year. So basically the takeaway is when relative tweet volume and relative trading volume start to become exponentially higher for Bitcoin or alts, that's a good signal that you should switch one way or another. When you start seeing a lot of listings around alts, that tends to be a good sign for alts because that means people are now paying attention more. And when you start to see a lot of news coverage. So a lot of these things may sound intuitive, but it's really nice to actually have a study that quantifies the impact. And you can see we actually ran basically a random strategy, right? Randomly basically swapping between assets. And this performed, out of 2,000 trials, better than 1,996 of them. So this isn't just random data. When we actually just randomize all the data, randomized all the trades, this strategy outperformed, 99.9% of the time.
That's some really compelling research, Josh. And when are you planning to have that published publicly?
I don't know. That's a question for you, Ryan.
I was trying to not give away the name of the firm it was being produced for. But yeah, it'll come out next week at some point, probably Wednesday or Thursday. Look for it, and we'll of course share it in the chat. We can't say who it's from yet, but you'll know next week. It's a client of mine.
It's really hard to see who we put out quarterly reports with. You guys would never be able to figure it out.
Yeah, you'll know immediately. It's a client that I work with on a daily basis for public relations. I do their USPR, so you'll see it. I think, are there any questions from the community that we haven't addressed that are either in the chat or in the Slack?
I did want to note one thing. There's, Florian put up a question about gas fees on Uniswap, and Florian, that is true. So the way the swap is working is it's using Ethereum, therefore you're subject to the gas fees. Ethereum gas fees during volatility stages has been known to go extremely high. I did do some swap trading the other day where I was paying less than $6 for a trade, but you'll see in the community some members post gas trades of up to $150 just to do a $200 trade.
I have a screenshot of $560 gas fees from 2 weeks ago.
Really?
It's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah. So you are subjected to the gas fees. The only way around that is to be on the Voyager app, buy the token directly from them. If you go to a place like Binance Exchange, Voyager token is a BTC pair, so you do have that exposure. So Voyager app is actually the truest place to be able to get it for the cheapest guaranteed.
Yeah, I mean, any major exchange, right? The challenge is just going to be on listings, right? Uniswap tends to be best for exchange listings specifically, just because Like we saw this token, a Kosh token, which got listed on Binance or whatever, or sorry, on BitThumb the other day. I've never even heard of it. Like it wasn't on any major exchanges. So, you know, look, at some point too, I mean, these exchange listings can be such big opportunities that it's worth just eating the fees anyways.
Yeah, I mean, to Josh's point, that when it comes to if you're doing small amounts of DCA, like our good friend Richard Hart over at Digital Asset, Rob over at Digital Asset News likes to do. If you don't notice, he's in the chat today as Richard Hart.
I was
Always good
wondering
to be joined by Richard.
But if you're doing your low volume daily DCA, those gas fees might add up. But if you see a listing alert, and for some of us unlucky to be in the United States under some regulations that don't allow us to go directly to the exchange, it is the easiest. If if we're anticipating a bump of 20, 30, 40%, eating a 2% gas fee is obviously effective.
It's the cost of doing business.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Is there anything that you guys wanted to cover off on that I may not have mentioned or asked about? It's been a rather tight AMA.
Yeah. Oh, I do want to say something. Now, I've been, as a team, we've been doing, we've had an influx of members, if you haven't noticed. That's due to Ryan's hair and Weston's winning charm.
And Weston's Michael Saylor picture in the back.
And Weston's Michael Saylor picture in the back. I did want to. Did we introduce Sunil? I didn't even know if we did or not. But I'd like to introduce the guy wearing the red hoodie. This is Sunil, and Sunil we decided to put on video today. Not a lot of people see him. He's our head of marketing. He does all our digital marketing and product, little different update launches and stuff like that. So that's him. He's always in the shadows, but he's intricate in making everything work. What I did want to say is that if you are having trouble understanding how to read the data, if you're having understanding what the best trading strategies are off the data that you're reading, or anything as basic as account administration with the members resource tab, or customizing columns or any of that, we have been doing coaching calls. If somebody's running into a problem, don't pound the table and get frustrated. Reach out to us in the community. Weston, Ryan, myself, we're all in it. DM us. You can hit us up in email. Our emails are our first name at TradeTheChain.com. You can hit support at TradeTheChain.com. If you do support at TradeTheChain.com, we all see that. That's a unified help desk. If you just want to bother Weston because he has spiky hair, just hit him up directly, no problem. we are here to help, and we will walk through anything on a personal basis. We have been thinking about doing some small group coaching, where everybody is on video, or doesn't have to be, but they're able to speak and listen at the same time, like the panelists up here are doing. And I think I want to start that the second half of January, and maybe bring groups of 10 in on a weekly basis, and kind of just make sure answer everybody's question in a more personal manner as well.
Awesome. That sounds great. Can't wait to get this started for sure. All right, I guess that's all we have for this week's AMA. Don't forget to check out our latest episode of Trade the Chain later this afternoon. We're recording that shortly, and we'll have it up. I don't know what, 3, 4 o'clock, Alex, usually around there.
Yeah, about 4 o'clock. Trade the Chain. We go to tape it after this, and if you missed this, or somebody asks you where to find this, this will be up in YouTube later on as well to go through. So
awesome. All right, thanks everyone.
Thanks everybody.
I hope to see you guys next week. Wait, Alex, what's your take? 50K by next AMA?
50K by next AMA for sure.
All right.
Bold.
Bye, guys.
Take care. Bye.